Operators, get ready. Fighters, are we all set? But not bad.
Fighters, are we all set?
Yep.
Squad, combat readiness.
Hey, Lobster.
Squad, combat readiness.
What? No, I find it mega easy. I've flown FPVs in acrobat mode on real with simulation payload, simulation ballast, and so Mavics. And drone flying is can train a monkey on that. What are you flying, FPV, or I think you showed me drone footage, you have FPV? Oh, okay. I mean, what is challenging is of course what those dudes do with those, you know, those races and everything, where they do those crazy stunts. With those crazy stunts and loops and everything, that is definitely challenging. But FPVs, especially Xbox controller, is not that good as a real audio radio. Also with FPV goggles it is way easier than with the screen. No, I find it super crazy how quickly you get proficient. I only had a bit experience with Mavic 3T, with the thermal one, with simulation payload. In order also to try out grenade drops in case civil war breaks out here. And then I used FPV acrobatics mode without any acro mode. But after 1 hour I could already land crazy dive bombs and everything, and with Symbalast, with payload. Yeah, exactly those three. I was even thinking to use a radio FPV controller for video gaming. They're so precise. I mean that DJI, okay, but that is rather for them. I really like them because I find video game controllers, they have those small sticks and everything. Also for racing games, they are really imprecise. And a lot of those drone controllers or radios, they work also on PC. Yeah, exactly. The DJI is good. Yeah. I mean, there's crazy expensive ones, but even those cheaper ones for 200-300, man, they're way better than some Xbox Elite controller, man. It feels real like I would like to play a racing game with that. I mean, what they often lack is, of course, triggers. Yeah. I mean, I think there's not really many drones that have because they don't need triggers. You know, shoulder buttons like on a whale for drones. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's fun. Wait, let me change the weather. It's a bit too crazy with the fog here. I've never seen those conditions in video, which doesn't mean that they don't exist. Pretty sure that is a bit here crazy with the fog. Nah, FPV is super easy. Those dudes that do those saltos and whatever through what you see on YouTube through buildings, yeah, where they fly through the open windows. But that also shows you how crazy you can go with those things, yeah. How precise you can maneuver them around. The drone, the control input is so crazy direct if you have good connection. I mean, close to the ground, you need to watch out a bit. Crashing all the time. I mean, your drones are. Yeah. I mean, those yeah, of course they crash. I mean, that is high risk maneuvers, man. Pulling off some 360 dual loop while, I don't know, getting through while diving with 100 miles through a shitter. But I see some crazy videos. I can imagine that they have to use some through a chimney, exactly. That they have to use some heavy duty drones or replace that they often have to replace their rotors because they simply nuke those parts. I mean, it's not a Mavic. If you have the money, sure, you can do that. It's not like a Mavic free thermal. Which if you, I mean, those things you can't even crash that easily. But if you lose that thing, I mean, it's 5,000 down the drainer. Definitely do as well, but I got little durable guy for risky stuff. You mean those FPVs with protection and everything, which you can crash easier without nuking your rotors or whatever. Or what do you mean? Yeah, prop guards, yeah. Are the prop guards, are they making something to maneuver? Is it... I guess okay, I mean every weight is making, of course, but... Do you feel any difference in the acrobatics mode? Oh yeah, okay. I could imagine it. I guess if you do really crazy maneuvers, 5-inch frame. Yeah. I know there was another game released on. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, FPV, killer FPV or Kamikaze FPV costs $500 to $1,000. Yeah, I mentioned it several times. It was never so cheap to kill humans or equipment. Just saw how they blasted that Turkish MRAP. Okay, it was a fiber, but it's also not much more expensive. I've not flown directly fiber, but fiber is even easier because of better controls. It's basically simply sim weight. But yeah, crazy. How precise they are. And how fast you get proficient, at least for this stuff here. I'm not talking about here flying through the chimney or whatever. And it definitely requires skill, but... I heard those dudes in Ukraine or Russia or whatever, they train those dudes on a couple of hours on the simulator, then dry flights, then sim ballast flights, and then let's go, yeah. It's probably the least training personnel in the team. The most trained personnel in the team, the most trained dude in a drone team is the explosive ordnance specialist. So only one guy is allowed to tinker around with explosives, which I understand. If you have some monkey tinkering out with that shit and he does a mistake or whatever, man, you blow up your entire hideout. But yeah, those dudes that fly here through all those chimneys and whatever, that is crazy. That requires really some crazy input. And again, yeah, on the Xbox controller is fine, but it was really crazy how precise the controls are on those radios or controllers. I wonder how good they are in PC gaming. Because I would even pay more money for a good controller. They're all shit. Just mini sticks. Can't play properly racing games with them. Let's do some dive bombs. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it must be horrific. So not much you can do against them. If you're in an open field or whatever, it's alone. I mean, here in that game, it's basically over-simulated. You're basically fighting the Moss Pro dudes who evade and fight those drones. Long time no see. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah. But yeah, I can imagine that sound will cause for thousands of soldiers. Simply, also you can't compare that weapon system to something like Arty or whatever. It's really like, I mean, you have a dude that basically plays a video game and is hunting you down, and I can even see, I mean, shit can even become probably fun to hunt down stuff, locate it, hunt it down, yeah, while you're sitting somewhere in a comfy hideout. I mean, those dudes of course also suffer certain dangers, but not comparable to a frontline trench soldier, yeah. It's also, I mean, a power trip. I also can't compare that to a sniper or something. A sniper's quite well exposed, eh? A fiber optics drone with the newest spools can do 10-20 clicks. Those radio FPVs are getting more and more sorted out. Whoa! Didn't detonate. Yeah, sure. I mean, sure, but normally you don't snap the cable that easily because the drum, the spool is on the drone. It requires that you wrap it somewhere around and somehow jam the spool or whatever. Those spools are, I mean, the fiber cable is more resistant. It looks so slim, but I mean, it snaps. Of course, you can snap it with your hand, yeah, but it's still quite resistant. It looks so fragile. And the input and everything, and battery life is of course phenomenal. Yeah, autonomous, I don't think they will go that far that they completely do all shit on their own. But definitely here machine recognition, that will be the next step. And yeah, what drones basically already can do nowadays. You will have the next step once this war ends and everybody then starts to standardize and militarize. Then okay, that drone will probably then cost not 500 to 1,000. But 20,000, because fat asses in the military industrial complex will have to make money. But you will have, yeah, autonomous to some extent, you're right. Yeah, shuttling, what drones already can do. I mean, drones already, Mavic drones or whatever, every Chinese, I mean, Mavic is DJI is Chinese, but even the cheap drones have here waypoint system. And this you will also probably have then, I mean, they already have motherships, but so far it is too expensive, too finicky. But you already have that you have basically a big multi-rotor drone, something like a farming drone, is carrying a lot of FPVs. So they don't need to waste their little battery in order to reach the AO. The big drone was packed with a ton of battery. Can bring them in there, and also has a signal repeater installed on them. In case if it is needed, you could basically also fiber those Tonys from that drone, but that would maybe be a bit more complicated. Not required really. But yeah, this what those drone operators spend a lot of time on is shuttling those drones around. What you will have in the future, that one dude with little training, a single dude with little training. Again, a Mavic flies itself, man. A Mavic, you cannot sit down a monkey on a Mavic. Those grenade dropping drones or observation drones like Mavics, they are fly-by-wire basically. They are stabilized flight, horizon flight. Those FPVs are acrobatics mode. Yeah, they fly free. if you are a gamer, not even, I mean, I've seen people, I've heard of people, Jimmy, they never touch a game controller, they have absolutely no idea of flight sims. They got proficient on those drones in a couple of hours, with a couple of simulator hours, and 1-2 hours in the dry flights and sim ballast flights, and you can roll those dudes. And they're not pro, of course, they will get better with the time, but they're already military viable. They can already kill and destroy shit. Because what you see in this game here, that the dudes fire back and run around. I mean, look at the real footage, or better, don't look at the real footage. Most people are getting surprised by those drones. Before they realize what is going on, they're already getting impacted. On vehicles are almost hardcore to protect. People talk a lot about here lasers and whatever here. Yeah, exactly. Let's install on every shit vehicle, man, some countermeasure for 500,000 while the drone is costing 1,000. Also lasers. Ask yourself why you always see lasers being fired in a desert. Lasers have massive limitations. It's not like Star Wars, you can simply fire a laser beam. A laser wants to heat something up, and you want to heat up the drone or its vulnerable parts. Yeah, drone is basically FPV drones, but even observation Mavics or whatever consist of only a couple of parts, very, very fragile. So already a bit of heating up would blow those batteries into pieces. Problem is, the laser will also heat everything up on the way there, including water molecules. That's why you never see laser demonstrations in European theaters or jungle or forest theaters. Everybody who had basics in physics knows you can't fire a laser without. And what happens if you heat up water molecules to create a lot of steam? And that steam is then also at the same time blocking the laser. That's why you see those lasers always being fired by those military industrial complex Tonys somewhere in the desert with very low humidity. You never see those laser demonstrations. Yeah, that is also, of course, crazy. Yeah? This bagging, or what I also really hate is if they blow up out of action personnel. I mean, that is by Geneva Convention hors de combat rules, that is a war crime. If somebody is visibly out of action due to sickness or wounds and can't defend himself, he is granted the status of a non-combatant. But nobody gives a shit about this anymore. That's where I release some videos, and there's also the difference you see between those drone operators and those frontline soldiers. If you see the GoPros of those frontline soldiers or the interviews, they are rather grounded, even show some respect to the enemy, similar to people who fought in the war on terror or in World War II or in Vietnam or in Korea. Well, I don't know if it's the drone units themselves or if it is some propaganda media Timmies that make those videos with some clown music where you see people dying on the drone footage, and then they make some clown music over that and add some smileys. Either it's simply because, sure, they face mortal dangers, but they are not on the front line. They're sitting in somewhere in their hideout or whatever. And indeed, hunting and killing down those people is like a video game, and you basically chase them into death. Or it's those media bitches who also have absolutely no clue of the front line and find it funny. I mean, it's the same like the Reddit experts or whatever. Man, that guy got wasted, man. Hey, man, his legs popped off. He's sitting, never saw a war, man. Some fat ass sitting in his basement. Let's try a striker drone out. Those things are here even, and can give that drone, you can give somebody after 1 hour into the hand. They're self-flying. Activate horizon or level flight, you're good to go. Easier than a video game. But I wouldn't have those monkeys equipping those with grenades and everything. That's why I say, man, the most important dude is the explosive ordnance guy in a team. You should have a team leader, you have a drone operator, you have a supply soldier. He's also basically getting everything in between, or he's also recovering an empty drone. You never recover a drone with ordnance. The problem with all the simulators is that there's no realistic weather. I know I'm talking about the military simulations, yeah, but okay, you flew a FPV. Yeah, of course, yeah, weather is definitely challenging. Also for drops, for example, here, and you see in the footage that some dudes they can really predict the weather and the grenade drop. They often judge it by the ordnance, because you sometimes can, with your camera, you can see what you're carrying below, and then you see how the grenades or your ordnance is behaving, or you check something like here, the wind, the smoke. If that smoke would go massively to the right, I would not do the drop center mass, yeah. But I mean, we can try it out. This game has weather, but I don't know if it has wind or something. I doubt it. Yeah, but you're right. But it's better when armor free is complete turf. That here is the most authentic one. Why not being completely authentic? But there's also stuff you need to learn in a real, with real drones. Simulator is only to give you an idea and then get. Yeah, they normally don't have such low battery lives. Yeah, those. That is made for the game here for some reason. Oh. But dude got it, yeah. Back like once, back like twice for the second, yeah. I mean, at least he pays some details here. But again, yeah, I heard that simulator is used with the Russian forces. Or you can buy it on Steam, but they also use it for dry simulator training on drone operators. Ukrainians also have simulators, but I don't think they are publicly available. And yeah, perhaps they have better stuff, but I doubt you don't need to over simulate. I mean, drones are so cheap, man. That's also why you see why they bombing, man, a vehicle with 5-6. They don't care, man. You can't imagine a Switchblade 300, man. What was it? 100,000. That was an anti-individual drone, basically comparable to a FPV. Super complicated, yeah. Over-engineered. That's why the Ukrainians also were not that in Awe with it. Seems like the Russian jamming did a problem with many of those Western drones. They were all over-engineered, all super expensive, and rather, yeah. I mean, they did Switchblade 3, but that thing was designed for Afghanistan. And the Switchblade 600, there was indeed some problems. I mean, that has a bigger payload, is super expensive. I mean, the US Army ordered it, but it's a super over-engineered drone. The Ukrainians and Russians have now the best drone tech. They have both the best drone tech currently on the market. From a cost efficiency and everything, all those Western drones, I mean, they're working now, especially on autonomous drones, because they already realized that it's the next step. All this shuttling or whatever, like the Baba Yaga, they do the same. You give a waypoint, that drone is flying there, and you can park drones somewhere if the battery life is allowing that, and then you can basically on call access them. Yeah, the controls are super simple. I mean, gamepad, I find that I have flown FPVs with sim ballast in real. I find it on a good FPV radio or controller, it is even easier. I find the Xbox controller, the sticks on a drone controller are way better, way more precise. If you can fly that shit on an Xbox controller, they send you out. You do some dry flies. I guess they invest more time into the military stuff. Because as a drone operator, you still need to know how to behave and to know of all the soldiering stuff. But the drone operation itself is straightforward. That's what makes it so damn effective. It is cheap. It is easy to train on. They're producing a single A single line, a single factory can spew out 50,000 drones a week. I'm not kidding with you. 50,000 FPVs. That's why you see on Telegram, man, units ask for donations so they can get some, I don't know, 20, 30 FPVs as backup solution, ultima ratio, in case they're attacked or whatever, that they at least can get some FPVs in case there's no drone unit or observation drone available. So a lot of units themselves, also frontline units, want those drones. Also for defense. It is super straightforward, man. That's why what makes this weapon so crazy. That is history of warfare. It's still a lot of NATO don't realize that, or people that didn't experience that firsthand. Those drones changed complete the game. This especially commercial drones. I mean, they will of course now also inspire 70 to 80% of casualties in Ukraine are now caused by drones. It's the first time in history since 100 years, basically since that our weapon system is causing more casualties, way more casualties than artillery. Again, in Afghanistan, it costs 150,000 to eliminate a single individual. You had to drop 20, 50 bombs, man. You had to drop 1,000 of RT rounds, and then they came up with the statistics. I caught some teenage stoners in their car this week and flew my micro drone right up to to freak them out. I hate drones. I survived 21 of them. I would be better to fight the old-fashioned way. I can understand you, man. Respect. I hope you will be good. Fucking shit, man, that you survived those. I also find, man, this warfare is. But on the other hand, perhaps it will deter people from conducting warfare. Now that everybody on Reddit or on Telegram can, with their fat asses, watch people getting blown into pieces and make fun out of them. Man, 21, that is nuts. That is nuts. Did you shoot them down? Did you evade them? Or... I mean, I know, but that is also false. You often hear only 30-40% of drones impact their target. But it's not because of the final hit probability. It's because a lot of drones are simply lost because they don't care. You have, for example, a ghost drone. I could get here a FPV with RID, but without this wiring, that would be a bit too crazy. It would detonate on the ground. Then you park it on a road and wait for the vehicle to pass by, or for a vehicle to come in. You're saving battery life. The Ukrainians were the first to develop this technique. However, with the radio FPV drones, you still have a high battery drain because of the video footage. But with those fiber optics drones, man, you can park the Tony on a road because the video signal is transmitted via the fiber cable. This means you're saving a lot of battery life, and then you can wait until a supply vehicle passes by and then hit it. So Ukraine is now full, man, with fiber optics cable. That's also crazy, man. I know dudes in the front lines, for example, they use drills, simple handyman drills, to drill back those fiber optics cable because a Mavic or whatever in sunshine might follow the reflections back to your hideout. Some dudes got counter-bombed because it didn't remove the fiber optics cable. It will snap at some point. At some point it will snap, but at least you got somewhat the trace away so that dudes don't follow that fiber optics back to your hideout. I've seen pictures from some dudes that posted me. When they drive pickups on the roads, when they arrive, they have to cut their tires loose of all the fiber cable trash their wheels catched on. There's so much now fiber cable in Ukraine. Not even talking about the microplastics from all those FPVs. Because it's massive, man. You have a dugout with 2 dudes. Per dugout with 2 dudes, you have 20 FPV drones. And a lot of them now operate on fiber. I find so much fiber cable being sent into nature there. and you drive your pickup, arrive, and your entire wheel is white from the fiber cable because you spooled it up. Half of them missed. One was gas. Gasoline. One was an RPG. Did hit my... Shit, wait. Did hit my position in the garage and explode inside. It was 81 Mike mine. Yeah, man, good that you made it out, man. Fuck those drones, really. Nah, man, that is sweet. Drone warfare. I tell you, there's always this war on terror. Yeah, of course, it was also brutal shit. But if we would have suffered shit what you guys have to endure in Ukraine, man, that is against that, Afghanistan or Iraq was kindergarten. Chemical, CS gas, right? I heard that they dropped that on the hideouts in order to flush the people out, right? Yeah, lights gas, CS gas. Yeah. I also watched an interview with one Ukrainian bloke. Dude's dugout was hit by 10 or 20 FPVs, and they also then had striker drones on them. And they tried to drop CS gas grenades into his hideout or into the holes that were blown open by FPVs. We simply attach it to our FPV. Crazy, man. Yeah. Good that you're still around. That's massive respect, yeah. Massive balls you have. I don't know how you're even fitting here on my stream with your balls.
Readiness, damn it.
What was that? Oh, was the drone crashing? Shit, okay. Well, they sometimes do that. I've seen videos where they simply park on the center of the road, especially for tanks. I mean, vehicles will notice you. Vehicle drivers might notice you. Can you park a drone here? Let's find out. I think you can. Probably not.
Readiness, damn it.
I mean, with the RPG, we should be able to park it. And normally, they also have a connector wire on the RPG. Here they use the RPG, or PG. In this regard, it is a PG because you remove the rocket behind. So it's basically a propelled grenade, yeah? Propelled by a FPV drone. Because they removed the booster state behind. Oh shit. Dude already came. She will sit here silent here. So this game is a bit based on old knowledge. It's basically... yeah, 2023 I would say. Wasn't really a good hit. Would send out another one. Usually you go for the rear engine compartment top or turret top. But they will kill, they will immobilize those, it doesn't matter. It's Western, Eastern, those dudes will die. Or lose, at least need
Readiness,
to
damn it.
get out of the tank. Normally you would now turn off the rotors, yeah. What happens if that dude drives over me? Ah, shit. Okay. But that's what you do, yeah? You park, not on the road, you park it beside the road. Because often the drone operator will notice that something is passing by. Perhaps he's even, usually he's not working with several drones, that is a bit overtasking. But sometimes they are really fast, they see something, they activate and basically fly right into the path. For example, use this part here. I know from one blog at least, but I can't confirm if it is authentic. And that there's one lesson that you have to follow that dude. Simply to match your movement. At some point it becomes basically second nature, muscle memory. Yeah, church roof is good, yeah, maintaining, because you mean with radio FPVs, yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean with fiber you also have good observation. The problem is with radio FPVs, if you try to turn a radio FPV into a sleeper drone, you might lose signal because it is too close to ground. So in the old footage you often see, I mean nowadays I see so many fiber drones. Definitely fiber is now the hottest stuff. But yeah, turning those, you need a repeater or something higher up. I mean you can park a repeater on a observation drone or Mavic. But if you put a thing close to the ground you might lose signal. Entirely. And then you have no control over it anymore. That's why radio FPVs is not always a good idea to park it close to the ground. And 10 or 5 meters. And where did you usually install it? On higher points or higher ground? This is of course also always dangerous. Because those antennas can need to be concealed somewhat, or you need to, because otherwise they might get observed by enemy drone operators. Ah yeah, exactly. Basically a bridge, yeah. Basically a bridge, yeah. Landline to radio bridge. That is what they often do, yeah. Or what you did, yeah. was thinking it was a dude. Yeah, side maneuvers say don't do that, yeah. No, don't flank. That is not good. You're losing control. They don't want you to do that. Rather keep the speed low. Again, yeah, in this game, you basically those dudes are basically hardcore shooting down those drones. Exactly, this one horse. I don't know if I can manage it with my Xbox controller.
Fighters, are we all set?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because those antennas, it's not only about losing those antennas, but it will of course also tell the enemy that somewhere a drone unit is operating. Then they might look for the vehicle. Losing a vehicle can also be dangerous. Yeah. If you lose your ride, can't basically exit anymore, then supply also gets harder. Need to get supplied. But nobody will come for you, because you might get droned. There's a lot of supplies handled by drones. But then you need to watch out that you don't mistake a friendly drone for an enemy drone. So I talk with drone operators that they, for example, if they attack the building, let's say I'm coming from that side, enemy side, that is a friendly side. They fly the drone around and then they come from that side. So people think it is a friendly drone. It even goes so far that there's those Trojan horse drones. They deploy a drone with a camera and a remote detonated IED. But it looks like it is carrying a big package below. People might think, okay, what is that? Is it a supply drop? Then they wait. Then they come out of the dugout. And either that dude detonates while you pick it up and he sees movement on the camera, or he even is crazy and waits until you carry it inside and then detonates. Of course, you need to keep everything in mind, like signal and whatever. But they also do that with fiber Tonys. That's crazy, man. The tactics, man. It's a complete different battle space. And it's in the West, there's so little knowledge. That's why Ukraine and Russia, man, those dudes are currently the kings of drone warfare. But it's a typical, man. In wartime, you collect all this knowledge. Ukraine has still a technical edge. Okay, fibers were mass deployed by Russia first. It was definitely a big thing. But quantity-wise, they equalized minimum. For Ukraine, it's also easier because they have the economy is different. They have a lot of private little companies, which they basically include and make drones. Well, this Western boy is leaving to go fly now. Yeah, do it. I'll be back here. See you. Oh man, that is heavy. Thermobaric. They already saw me. Oh, that was a bit dangerous. Yeah, it's not a good use of thermal barracks. I wanted to enter the building. So the dudes are outside. Oh, are they on the ground? I've never seen people on the ground in this game. I guess was there some sort of injury or what? Yeah, shit is also happening, huh? Never do a side approach. Yeah, it's different. I mean, I wanted. That is, of course, yeah. There's the outside sound is different, yeah. Oh, no. Signal is getting worse. Oh, wow, I got two guys. But I think they even do they have sound feedback on those domestic-made FPVs? I mean, on the real ones you have sound feedback, but you can deactivate it, yeah, for less battery drain. But do they have sound feedback? They have simulated sound feedback, I could imagine, but there's no resound. Yeah, exactly, no sound, because that is all costing battery. And what sometimes I've heard, I mean, some FPVs they have either real sound feedback or simulated sound feedback. Fully commercial ones, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Because sound is only costing battery. You need to transfer them, and what would help you perhaps with the input, but you can also train without sound. You will get a hang out of it. And it would only make the signal worse. Yeah, you need to transmit. First you need a microphone on that drone, it would probably also sound crazy bad. Then you need to transmit that sound information back. I mean, there's commercial drones, again, they simulate the sound. Some FPV Googles have speakers with different sound simulations in order to give you an audible feedback of your input, which can help with, but you can also train with. I wonder, can you simulate that? Yeah, basically, it's basically like that, yeah. Ah, didn't work out. Now we are here, that's how it is. You sit in your hideout and only... usually you have a Tony that is watching your footage on a screen. He might say something to you, as usually a team leader. But he will also not screw with you. But he might give some ideas or whatever. Many people don't notice on the battlefield. Ah, because they think that drones can hear them. Damn it. Yeah, I've recently seen that footage, which is also so brutal to watch. With those thermal blankets. I mean, they work, but whoever understands thermal technology knows that you can't erase you out of thermals. Yeah, at Nike they operate, of course, thermal observation drones. They're like the Mavic 3T. But those, I mean, Ukrainians get most of the electronics from the European market, from the Western market. Russians get most of the electronics from the Chinese market, but also more and more domestic. And those thermals getting cheaper and cheaper. So you can also now get kamikaze drones with thermals, which they employ at night, which is even more horrific, especially if you're in the open. and don't have knots, or don't have thermals. And yeah, they equip some dudes with thermal blankets. Might help against long-range detection, but if a drone is upon you, it will not help. It's not only about temperature, but there is also a material coefficient. That's why stuff is looking different in thermals, like roads. It's not because of temperature, it's also because of every material has a different signal in thermals. It means if you want to go full Metal Gear Solid or whatever, then you would have to, I don't know, it would be too expensive. Yeah. But I saw this footage where dudes basically freeze with those blankets while the drone is flying straight into them. But those blokes can't do anything else. You see pitch black and the drone sees everything. And you only hear the noise. It's crazy, man. It's really those fucked up drones, man. It's crazy, man. Simply nuts. No one would have guessed it. Yeah, I mean, the $20 million drones we use already since a long time. But that some cheap commercial drones will dominate the battlefield.
Fighters, are we all set?
Man. 21 drones, respect. Or do you need to deploy again, or are you now safe? So another deployment coming up for you. It's not only about the temperature, the problem is also that different materials, for example silver has a very bad signal coefficient. That's why even if those blankets, I've seen those, I mean they help to shield your exactly heat, but they still stand out. If you have some dude that is, I don't know, observing from 1 click, 1 kilometer, he might not notice you because you're not a point of interest if you have that blanket over you. But if a drone is upon you, it will see this, it will see your signature. Because you would have not only to match the temperature, but you would also have to match the signal coefficient of the background, which is almost impossible. Because everything has different. And there is also inhomogeneity in the signal coefficient. So you will basically have not a dude, he's not white hot, but he's simply then darker, but you still can make him out. That's somebody standing there with a blanket. Perhaps this would have worked on thermal technology from the 80s or something, but even modern cheap thermals, Chinese or whatever, or European cheap, or Western cheap thermals will make you out. I wonder what they tell those dudes, if they really tell those dudes that it is protecting them. I mean, it is helping. I would have rather a blanket like that than not. If somebody's sending me out in the middle of the night at the front lines. But yeah, it's not really... If the drone is upon you... No, I don't think it's not special units. I think they're giving some blokes those capes in order to get, I guess, more like a placebo. Again, they are helping. They're not making it worse, or they're not useless. But perhaps a couple of dudes survived thanks to those capes. I mean, they're cheap, I guess, but it will not protect you. When a drone sees you or has located you, that cape will not protect you anymore. It's over. But it's dark. What you are supposed to do? I can understand that those dudes freeze. What are you supposed to do? You don't see anything. You have no knots. You have no thermals. It is pitch black. Somebody sent you out for whatever reason. And you hear a drone. Ah, you mean advanced stuff? Yeah, but again, there's we in the Western. I remember here in Afghanistan, we also tried. I mean, the Taliban didn't have really thermal tech or whatever, but there was a lot of research how to shield from thermal detection. Also in Cold War, nothing fruitful came out of that. You can reduce your thermal signature. For example, modern BDU uniforms have at least an attempt to somewhat reduce your thermal signature. Modern BDUs, yeah. That's why they often test those BDUs under thermals and night vision. If you want to see if your uniform is good, do a night vision test, a NOT test, and do a thermal test. But even cheap Chinese copies are good at that. It's not, but it will not make you invisible. It will reduce a bit your signature. It will not. It will not make you invisible, unfortunately. Thermals on the battlefield are brutal. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, fucking drones, man. Those two dudes run away. How the... Okay. Only a few 155 mic hits nearby from hot ground and fragments will help mask you. Yeah, if that 155 doesn't torn you into pieces, yeah. Yeah, but there's no real protection against thermals. Except for the LOS block. I mean, breaking the line of sight. There's ER blocking fabric that can help to hide vehicles. Not only if they are hot or cold, because vehicles will also stand out on thermal because their material has a different signature coefficient. You will also make out cold vehicles on thermals. So they're made of complete different material. And yeah, but then again, that material has to be similar to the background. Otherwise you see a big cape also on your thermals, which will make a thermal operator curious. Why did I get a soldier? Those dudes run away. But on the other hand, those newer drones, when they re-optimize fragmentation, especially of those drone grenade drops. Early footage from late 22 or early 23 is completely different from now. I see them dropping ordnance from those Mavic drones or similar. Some dude 20 meters away is falling down. It's also those leg crushers, yeah, where they make the fragment spread more efficient. Often hitting your legs and immobilizing you. That dude stayed on a gun, okay. Nobody told him. But it's stuff you see, huh? You see stuff like that. Everybody's running away, but one dude somehow... Unfortunately not, yeah. So that's about battlefield fatigue. That's why you never should trust a veteran soldier when he tells you things are safe. I mean, some they stay sharp. Others, if you work the front lines for months and months, nothing is happening, or too much stuff is happening, and becomes daily business for you, you might lose a sense for danger. My fear scale is 60, 82 millimeter mines, Grad, MLRS, RT, cluster RT, and 250 to 500 FAP. Yeah, and drone. Drone is the highest, right? Yeah, FAPs I heard from guys, man, that is also getting FAPed all day is also not great. Yes. I'm basically now kitting out those FAPs with gliders. Super cheap but effective. Battery is almost empty. There's a duck out here. I saw a gun firing. Can't make it out. Guess the operator has already noticed my drone and shot me down, I guess. Okay. Good one, guy.
Readiness, damn it.
Yeah, attacking moving targets or something like your boats. I think that's the only mission that offers this. First you match the vector. Next you match speed. Then you adjust for weather interference, if any. Oh shit. Ah yeah, okay, but it hit close. Yeah, no, that's quite authentic. So our boat bit we are quite high, but yeah. The boat is stuttering, so not a constant speed, making it harder. This will miss. Yeah, definitely. We are quite high, but that works. Because now it's a stuttering boat, a bit difficult because this will throw off your aim. But if you have a vehicle that is driving at a constant speed, you're matching the speed you're dropping. As you're sending the ordnance off with that speed. Of course there will be some imprecision because of friction and whatever weight, but yeah, usually it hits. I have a YouTube channel. I'm streaming currently on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. A new one. Oh. I think it is in the Twitch description. Yeah, you're welcome. Too little power. Mm. Rather go for flat angle because they're doing so crazy maneuvers here. Okay, that should be fine.
Victory. The enemy is humiliated and destroyed.
Yeah, actually, I was so humiliated. Everybody's losing in that shit. That is that nobody's humiliated.
Readiness, damn it.
Have quite effective anti-AAA guns. Against FPVs, it's not really easy to shoot them down because they're so small. Yeah, gee, man, that was your sniper, man. Yeah, okay, I mean, that is... I guess it first want to train you to avoid AAA here. Because you won't see those FPVs from a high altitude. Those guys have aimbot on. But you will usually not use FPVs at an airfield that is then indeed more for military drones. Because again, yeah, even with the best spool, you have, let's say, max nowadays 20 clicks range. Okay, yes, and you will not get that close to an airfield, to an enemy airfield. And sure, you could here pull off some here SRF action. Yeah. That, oh shit, that's a gun. Missed us likely. Need to buy and drink box of non-stop. I saw a drone dropping non-stops. Yeah. But I also saw non-stops that will definitely stop you. Those modified non-stop cans with IEDs inside, which are dropped by drones with explosives. Man, if I find a non-stop somewhere in Ukraine, I will definitely not open it. Really good work, yeah. Using a syringe with vacuum, 2 metal plates. If you open the can, the syringe loses the vacuum. 2 metal plates press together and detonate the IED. That is really some Afghanistan stuff. Even recently I saw them, yeah. Recently, not only 23. Basically as fake supply drops or something. Or booby trap, yeah. But those cans need then to be professionally. I mean, you can remove. I never did that. I mean, I never modified a energy drink dose to be a bomb. But I guess they need to do that at factory because the roof of a can is pressed onto the can in the factory. So you need to first install the bomb and then press the roof on. And that's how they usually do cans. Drinking cans are filled open, and when they are filled, they press on top the roof, yeah? The top. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, exactly. Never pick anything up. Never. I mean, sure, but if those guys are tricked, but yeah. Again, war makes us weary. What we see in this wire footage is a guy making a mistake in 1 minute. Dude is probably already around on the front lines for months, perhaps years. This can really make you become risky. You might lose your sense for danger. But yeah, never pick any shit up. Nowhere. It's a doorbell. Middle of the forest. It's a forest story. Somebody plays a doorbell booby trap in the middle of the forest and somebody pressed it on it. Yeah. It's not good. Never press doorbells in the middle of the forest. Rule number 1. A bit too high, but should do the trick. Usually you want to go in between windshield, motor, yeah. You can hit the driver and probably also mobility kill the vehicle. That was not a good hit, yeah. Vehicle might be still operational. Yes? Crazy. I mean, not everybody is built for war, yeah, which is also nothing bad. All those tricks and everything, if you have seen no clue of this stuff, we would send all those Redditors that here, all those expert journalists from Reddit to the front lines, man, they would probably press us at every doorbell. Because they not really have a clue what is going down there. We are done here, right? Yeah, I must say, my input even improved without the sound. Crazy. I mean, you really go into some zen mode of control now. $115, the Soviet equivalent of the Claymore. And basically command detonated on himself. Crazy. Oh, shit. I shouldn't press any buttons in the forest. Yeah, it was 150, so quite efficient. I often use them as tripwire.
Squad, combat readiness.
Yeah, I got that guy. Oh yeah, controls with the thermobaric equative. Heavier. Oh man, that was center mass. Also need to watch out for electricity lines. It's one of the not so good friends of the drone. What are you doing? Get into cover, Tony! Meine Güte. If a close to our building and you're getting attacked, yeah, then use that cover, but watch out, yeah, be ready that that thing might indeed come into your house. There's some people, but I can understand them, and can talk all shit on Reddit or talk here being a good general, but if something that is supposed to kill you comes around the corner. Especially with that sound and everything is... Oh shit. Was close, I almost hit the roof lamp. Yeah, exactly, yeah, most dudes will not pull off. I mean, you have some that pull off some maneuver, but... Problem is simply having a idea where the drone is. You see often the victims, they have simply no idea where the drone is. Because if you're running away, you can't maintain. Here it is more challenging, yeah. I can this here is not a. They use this for training. Dragon. I think they train Russian dudes with that. This game here is used for Russian training, at least for the simulator, yeah. For a couple of hours. I read that there were some threads on Reddit, at least claiming that. I can't confirm it. With some people being angry about that, which you know. But so far this is the most authentic one. Those armor mods, they're not good. There's this other one, it has authentic parts. When it comes to the frames, you can build your own drones. But the controls are also not authentic, I don't know. Yeah, that's not all you need. You only need it for the because those drones are omnipresent. You send that dude out into the field with some guy who has an idea of drone warfare, and then you get trained in the field with a drone. You're not talking here about a F-16 fighter or something. You're talking here about a firefighter, not even. And real training is always the best, not simulator training. Because in real, you will also have more signal problems, you will suddenly have input problems. As in the middle of the flight, suddenly you might lose input, especially on radio. On fiber is tip-top. Or if you use bigger drones, yeah, over Starlink or... I think, what is the Russian one called? Cosmos or whatever. But Starlink has, of course, quite an input delay. Using a FPV on Starlink, at least, I don't know. Nah, you can't get you need a Starlink terminal. That is something what you pack onto a Baba Yaga, yeah? Or onto a jet ski. Or onto a speedboat, yeah? All those Ukrainian Navy drones are basically Starlink terminals with a Raspberry single circuit board. Yeah, armor. I mean, armor can be good. The engine is great. It could train you even into tactics and whatever, but I tried it out. The mods are often trash. Yeah, there's also mods for switchblades, 300, 600, Shahed, Geranium, all those Baba Yaga, Vampire, and those newer fixed-wing Ukrainian drones. I forgot the names. But it's always quantity over quality. It's always armor annoys me, man. There's so good stuff, but everything is so lazy. I mean, it's not lazy. Those people did input delay. I mean, via Starlink. I don't mean via radio or fiber, but you can have interference with the controls if you have a bad signal. But other than that, the input is good. Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I mean, if you would try to, there was this controller FPV kill people on the front lines while you're sitting somewhere in Europe at home. In theory, that is possible. Yeah, you could build a. Yeah, okay, that I don't know. I didn't command drones over Starlink. I mean, I can imagine a Mavic would be no problem, or horizon stabilized drones, but you mean FPVs also work? No input delay? Acrobatic mode over Starlink is no problem? I mean, Mavic is of course, yeah, no, or Baba Yagas. I mean, they fly in horizon or level mode. But I don't know. I don't know. That is I have no knowledge about that. I just heard that. Or that it acrobatics mode over a lot of bridges might give you problems with the input. It's basically the same like with here streamed gaming. I tried it out. It is horrible. Yeah, okay, 1-2 seconds delay. That is, I mean, for a Mavic or something, or a bigger drone like a ship killer or something, yeah. A naval drone is fine, yeah? But I mean for FPV you really need good input, low input delay. I mean, you can also of course strike with the FPV, do a dive bomb, yeah, do something like that. You don't need always to go too super precise or something like that. You could probably also handle with higher input delay, yeah? What they often do. Dive bombing. And back in the days they often did that because of the signal loss, because if you get close to ground you might lose signal, so you do a dive bomb. I like that. For on a suspected enemy position, and if you lose signal that thing will still fly into the position. Yeah, no, Mavic is fine. Yeah, Mavic I can imagine is fine for Starlink. But here pulling off this, here, I don't know, getting my drone here through a warehouse or something, which you can do with your fiber. Stuff like that. I think that would be a bit difficult under Starlink. Stuff like that here. That is with a fiber and some experience, not a problem. But I don't know, I never flew under Starlink. So I can't tell. But simply out of science and everything. It's basically the same like streamed gaming. Streamed gaming where you can't play racing games or whatever because it's simply the delay is too hardcore. I hit a tree. Yeah, exactly. You see that especially early Russian FPVs, they had often problems with signals, so they rather went for the dive bombs. Because the danger that if you tinker around and do here some parkour shit close to the ground, you might suddenly lose the signal, which is absolutely not good for acrobatics. Acro mode, and then the drone is lost. So you rather go for a dive bomb on whatever. Because once that thing is basically, that dive bomb will stabilize the drone. If you lose signal, that thing will still sail close to the target.
Operators, get ready.
Especially in an environment like this here. I mean, flying here through those warehouse, whatever, that is what you can do with a fiber. I also need to, of course, watch out for snapping. Because that fiber is not indestructible. It can still snap. This is resistant, which you will never expect. But whoa! That is also power cables, also not your friend. Seems like in this game they don't do anything to you. In reality, power cables can kill your rotors. Well, not kill them, but interfere with them and you might drop to ground. Or get entangled. Get your fiber spool screwed up. Like that dude, man. That's fucking faker, man. But he is now here a superstar. God damn, man. That dude here, man, is the biggest faker asshole ever, man. Fucking hell, man. But people eat shit all day, man. People want to suck dicks all day. Nobody gives a shit about truth anymore. That dude faked on YouTube a drone attack. Was even in US television. He's a Russian reporter. Did he delete the video? Yeah. Oh, perhaps YouTube deleted it finally. Fucking faker, man. Hey, they deleted the video. No, he didn't. 2 million clicks, yeah? That's how you get clicks on YouTube. Dude is faking a drone attack on his position, on his vehicle. I was already wondering, man, people are completely chilled out. And yeah, they're attacking the drone, spare you the details. That's fucking asshole, man. But people buy the shit. I will show you what I mean. Show you how a fiber optics cable is looking like. Did I edit the video? No. You see that white spiderweb thing here? That is a fiber optics cable. They basically faked that footage. Somebody outside of that pickup is controlling the drone, which they want to make you believe is an enemy drone. Dude basically made that video showing how dramatic of a reporter he is. Yeah, you see that? That is a fiber optics cable for a drone that is exactly looking like that. Like a spider web. You can even see it, depending on the sun conditions, from the sky. It's transmitting light. And that drone also looks nothing like here standard. They were controlling their own drone and faked that thing here for 2 million clicks. Probably earned him a good money and good fame. But that is nowadays propaganda for you. I've been in Marinka, like World War I battlefield. It's like Ghost of Kiev in DCS. The city in game is like I said a real location here, but 1 to 7 day battle. Which one here? That location here is that authentic or what? Is it a real location? I don't know. I mean, it's not really a city here, but more an industrial complex. Or do you mean at other city level? Yeah, under power lines is never good, but okay. I mean, yeah, we're operating here a radio drone anyways, but yeah, here you would probably already suffer signal problems. On the other hand, I've seen dudes flying those things in, it depends, yeah, but that here... Ah, damage, okay. Okay, that guy... Yeah, but that... You see that very often. People don't even turn around. There's simply no time to grasp what is going on. Especially if you have that drone coming in. I mean, the sound is very prominent. It's a high-pitched... I guess everybody has heard drones. I mean, the sound might change if they come in with high velocity. I mean, if you dive bomb a dude, you might not notice. Simply before your brain connects the dots, it's over. But I've seen even dudes, man, getting hit by slow-mo drones. It's often also what people don't consider is battlefield hearing damage. We also had the same problem in Afghanistan, wearing ear protection versus I can't make out shit. Or I have a bad situational awareness. I mean, with Peltors it's not that bad, but also this Peltor enhancement, I'm not a fan of it. I never got used to it. There's some modern military headsets that have, they boost frequencies while protecting your ears, but you need them for radio communications. But they can screw around with your... That's why you often still see dudes putting a Peltor on one ear, freeing up one ear, because somehow it's strange. I can hear, man, if a wasp passes me, man, I'm thinking I'm getting attacked by some Godzilla. ATGM, and I hear missile striking coming. Yeah, it is very audible, but you need to consider, man, perhaps a lot of dudes suffer massive hearing damage from the battlefield. If somebody fires an AAK beside your ear, and I mean, it depends on how you prepared you are, but I don't know. And if you wear helmets, if you hear via caps or something, this can massively impact your hearing. I see often dudes with hoodies or whatever, military hoodies. or raincoat hoodies. If you have that on over your ears, you hear almost nothing. You only hear this. It's also, but you need to be prepared. But again, there's people either because lack of training, because I also think sometimes those dudes wandering around over. I was shitting my pants all day in Ukraine if I would be over open daylight, open sky. I would shit my pants 24/7. While you see often dudes who are walking paths, but that is better. That is either lack of sense of danger, battlefield, lack of training, or often also simply battlefield fatigue. That's what I mean. Never trust a veteran when he tells you, or some dude that is sitting since months on the front lines and he tells you it is safe. Never trust him. The dude, never trust that dude. Yeah. If some dude is here, if you come into a COP, some dude man already had 5 firefights, and he tells you, no, it's safe. No, Jimmy, no, I don't trust you. Normally veterans know better, but again, there's often a very prominent effect of this loss of sense of danger. Either because you experienced too much danger, or because you experienced too mundane shit. Yeah, because 99% of fighting a war is doing shit and being bored, and then at 500 milliseconds you need to react because otherwise you die. That is for your war, yeah. Sitting in your whatever, doing your job, same shit, different day. That's why I was talking about sounds and games. In reality, from AK-74, your eyes go blurry and muffles things quite well. Yeah, I remember I once screwed up when I was in officer training school. I received because you receive also a fire drill instructor training to maintaining a fire range, basically leading the fire range and the fire lanes. Yeah. And I was super young. I was a young Timmy, man, completely stupid. I was completely overwhelmed with all shit. And then we had not peltors, but those ear protection industrial headphones. And normally you also require inside them you also require in-ear protection, but I couldn't hear shit. Couldn't hear my instructors, I couldn't hear anyone. So I removed those, and I often put those headphones on the side for one ear, what often people do, because you can't understand shit. And then I forgot that, and then a big factor of hearing damage, or what you call it in English, hear shock, is if you are not prepared. It's a difference if you expect something loud, or if suddenly somebody fires an AK beside your ear. That will, I mean, you might even puke from that, yeah? But it might my ear, and then I wasn't realizing that. I gave then the signal for opening the range by standing at a table with one enlist ready to fire. Dude fired, man. I almost dropped to the ground, man. And that was the G for those rifles we use are not even that loud. If that would be a 6 Sauer, what is that new rifle called of the US? I would be dead by now. That rifle is so fucking loud, man. I don't know. I doubt they will adopt it, man. That 6.8 rifle, the 6 BLT. Bah, man, that is the loudest small arm I've ever heard, man. Even Machine Gun 42 is. Complete. I was paralyzed for one day. Yeah? Not paralyzed, I mean, but my ear. I was really thinking my ear will not come back. That was, but I didn't put my ear, and that was the first round. The first round screwed me up. But I didn't put on my hearing protection because the instructor wasn't seeing me. I hit my open ear because he realized something is wrong with me because I suddenly had some shocked face. And he was thinking, what the fuck is going on with that dude? But I pokered it around because I didn't want to receive any bad shit. So I poker faced it. But my ear was screwed up for 1 or 2 days. At least for that day, my ear was screwed up. I heard shit on that ear. It was completely screwed up, man. I remember, man, how my entire body, because I was not prepared. I was thinking my ears are protected. I completely failed that, yeah. Was boot camp in the UK, and every time I said that, why do you need this protection? You won't prepare like that in real. You mean hearing protection? Yeah, but that's the problem. They claim you hear with hearing protection, and those peltors. I mean, we were even. You had sometimes severe double protection. You hear shit. Because also, if you use indoor weapons are even more brutal. Certain weapons indoor will blast your ears out, or explosives. That's why we had sometimes double protection for CQB or mount operations. But you hear shit, man. It's so hard to make out stuff. And then, what? What? Then you remove the hearing protection, man, and then somebody pops around beside you. And I don't know, man. I can imagine a lot of those dudes, man, suffering massive hearing damage, man. Because I see those dudes firing there. Nobody's wearing hearing protection there. Not seen a single. I mean, there's some, but I've not seen a single dude with hearing protection in the Ukraine war, man. Fuck that. But I can understand it. Hearing protection, I don't know if I would wear it as well. It's dangerous as well, man. They claim you hear shit, you hear nothing, man. If you would hear sounds in the bushes or whatever. Also, directional sound is very problematic with peltors and everything. Some people say they are happy. I was never happy with those Boost headphones, man. It sounds like, I don't know, man, like some shitty video game. You need to experience this, those peltors, Peltor Freeze or whatever, which are typical. You need them for radio comms, yeah. You need them for radio comms. I mean, there were those headphones. We had some time, not we. Others had those, one headphones, which those with a black headband. But everybody's nowadays using peltors. Yeah, especially that dude behind you. Yeah, yeah. RPG or any anti-tank especially from the building. Yeah, that's why when we fired from indoors, we removed all furniture from that room. If you prepared, or we were trained, if you had to use LATs or whatever, from inside of rooms or buildings, compounds, we removed all furniture out of that room, man. Because if you fire that shit off, man, the entire room goes crazy. And you might get hit by, I don't know what, by a picture on the wall, man, from Jesus. Jesus picture, man, becomes suddenly, man, shrapnel. Yeah, man, it's crazy. I've seen also in the Ukraine war, man, especially in the beginning, in the first months, where a lot of Russian tanks or whatever got ambushed by, dudes out of buildings. Man, some dudes fire, man, the entire room became what is tilt again? I don't know. Entire room lit up. Firing anti-tank inside buildings is also not a joke. True, yeah. I mean, you are even required to wear hearing protection when firing outside. I imagine what happens to you if you fire that thing inside without hearing protection. And that is really a big thing. This hearing damage in a war zone. That's what I at least suspect for some of those dudes. They can't even hear those drones anymore. They hear shit. Or they are simply so weary. I tell you, man, battlefield weariness or combat weariness can turn you into a zombie. And again, what those dudes experience there is 100 levels more hardcore than what kindergarten we had in the WOTs. Oh man, that dude got stuck there. It's also getting stuck with the fucking gear. There's also something nobody talks about, man, but kit can get you stuck. Especially here, modern gear. Modern dudes have to wear way more. So there also sometimes people talk shit about mechanized infantry, why they are riding not inside the tank. Because a lot of those IFVs or APCs were designed for some Cold War dudes. Without level 3 body armor, without radios, without 5000 kit. You can really get stuck in a vehicle with that shit. I got stuck with all your kit, you can get stuck. You're stuck to your dudes and whatever is... it's not really that easy to cramp those original crew parameters are not really true for modern anymore, because a modern soldier is wearing way more kit. The fuck? Oh, there's a drone. Can I nuke my own drone? We need those net drones. Can I blow it up? I doubt. That's also what you often see now, drone-on-drone warfare. I mean, there's those drone interceptors, but they are rather expensive, complicated. There's dudes in turboprop machines. Yeah, that is what I heard from the Ukrainians, man, when they arrived in Europe for before the 2023 offensive and got trained here with our superior NATO tactics. And every second Ukrainian was thinking, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I can absolutely agree with you. And there's some NATO yappers that defend their tactics. Yeah, exactly. UK, Germany, France. Those dudes are still living in the Cold War, can't even grasp what drone warfare means, or what it means to fight against a peer enemy that is outnumbering you. We for the last, not a single NATO country was fighting a peer enemy for the last 70 years. So many since World War II had not a peer enemy. We were fighting dudes in sandals, and even struggled with those Tonys. Then some Ukrainians arrive who saw really hardcore war against a peer enemy. And then you have some NATO yappas, yeah, Jimmy's, and what we are supposed to do when we encounter a minefield? Yeah, go around the minefield. And what is if going around a minefield is another minefield? I don't know, by Soviet doctrine, a minefield is 200 meters. Yeah, Jimmy, man, those... I can't imagine that. I also heard from many Ukrainians, I mean, nobody has better tactics, but they back in the days they sold, man. Oh man, that is here some outward tactics. Our superior NATO tactics will fix it. Nothing had fixed, man. Those dudes were absolutely not grasping modern warfare. And when even in Afghanistan, many of those generals had a complete no clue what they're doing. Still living somewhere in Cold War. And even Cold War, it's questionable if it would have turned out. Cold War tactics were also based on wars like Gulf War, which is not representable. Iraq was not a peer force. They had a ton of equipment, but that army is like many Arab armies, massively centralized, politicized, and most of those dudes don't want to be there. You can't compare that to fighting some peer enemy. And yeah, I heard that from many Ukrainians, and I can understand that it's not here some luxury or whatever. But if you're coming from some hardcore war zone, then you have some NATO instructors teaching you tactics, and you're thinking, what the fuck are you yapping, man? That will never work out. That is exactly, man, they use those tactics for 2 days, man. That is where those pictures are coming from, with all with those tank graveyards. Superior Western tanks. I mean, they're definitely better for survivability, but they also cost 20 times more than a Ukrainian or Soviet tank, Russian tank. The funniest thing to storm the forest was the company size. Yeah, go around. Yeah, that is. I heard that from so many Ukrainians. What are we supposed to do if our mechanized, effort is encountering a minefield, because the Russians right now mining the shit out of their defenses. Yeah, you need to go around. What is if going around is another minefield? Yeah, somewhere must end. Chinese had absolutely no plan, man. That's what also killed a lot of Ukrainians, man. That is where you saw those really crazy footage where, man, entire mechanized formations run into AAP or AT mines, paired with a ton of FPVs and ATGMs. This NATO plan completely ignored the aspect of drone warfare and based its initiative alone on Western superior tech and fast speed. You have basically dudes, and that is wartime will make you, that is in history always true, people that fight a real war get proficient in that. And what we basically tried is to give people that already fighting a war of another generation, a new type of warfare on a new type of battle space, were sent to Europe, which is okay. Yeah, I mean, it's also about training capacity. But there's always this somewhat. I mean, I served in NATO, yeah. But there's among those generals there was always this decade-long arrogance, which you also can see in books or whatever. That we have the best shit, the best tactics and everything for every situation. No, I've struggled in Afghanistan. Yeah, Americans struggled in Vietnam. Struggled in Iraq. Yeah, I mean the equipment is of course good, yeah, sure. Yeah. But this mechanized Cold War tactics, and then especially against a peer enemy without any advantage, and then drive to the Black Sea and simply fight down your enemy. It will work out somehow. That was and now we know better. Why already back in the days people were, especially Ukrainians say, I don't know if that will work out. No, Jimmy, do it. It will work out. Just be aggressive enough. Drive through that minefield. It will work. You need to break through the Soviet maneuver, yeah? Breakthrough. Jimmy, what is with those 5,000 FPV drones they will launch at us? They will surrender. Yeah, and that is that's also why they immediately switched back to their tactics and realized those dudes, man. I mean, they give them basic military training, and the intelligence is of course massive, and the Western has a huge intelligence advantage. But those tactics, that was a bit over arrogant and probably killed a lot of people. And right now it's small Soviet army against big one. Yeah, but not with really Soviet tactics. You can't say the Soviet tactics. I mean, it is a new form of warfare resolving around small unit action up to platoon max company size and doing unexpected pushes. Yeah, but there's nothing else they can do. I mean, against that drone onslaught, you can't mess up forces. The observation on the battlefield is too crazy. If you try to amass forces, you will get observed. Both learned it on a hard way. Russians invaded, got wrecked, and Ukrainians, of course, in a summer offensive, quickly realized that shit will not work out. Yeah? No matter if it is a Bradley, a Leopard, a Challenger, or whatever, you will get drawn to hell. If you're small, dispersed units, you at least, depending, or you may do an unexpected push into some territory which is currently not considered a main front line, you at least can somewhat surprise the enemy without, or at least make it more challenging for the enemy to respond properly. Group 2-3 units, 1 wounded, all fucked. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you don't want to leave your body behind. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there's basically what back in the days was defended by a company. Yeah, so we're talking around 100 plus men. It's nowadays defended by 2 dudes. A frontage was back in the days considered to be defended by a company of 100 dudes. Is in Ukraine defended by 2 to 4 dudes. It's not because only on both sides. It's not because of manpower shortages. Of course, that is also a problem, massive. But it's also simply because of casualties. But for this drone, for this frontage, you have 20 drones, 20 FPVs ready somewhere, either to blow the heck out of your positions, Crazy, man. Without sound, I think without sound, got even better at steering. It's crazy, huh? Wonders me. Look at that. Crazy. So. But here, there's something else you do. I mean, if you do use squad-sized or platoon-sized elements, let's say you walk an infantry unit, you will get discovered more easily. No matter if mounted or dismounted. If you... Finland were the best, okay. Yeah, but I heard that from many, man, especially UK blokes had complete no clue. And yeah, Germany and French, because those dudes, they're still teaching the same shit like 20 years ago, yeah. They didn't adopt, which is okay, that is basically the... I mean, they will adopt sooner or later. But I think this arrogance, half a year with, oh man, our game changer technology and our game changer tactics, it was pure arrogance. Equipment is good, yeah. But it was really important now as to later bit that at the end of 22, early 23, they should have delivered shit. That was really the point. That was the time of acting. What they all did is talking. For me, from UK, Rom FI, what is it? And Sweden. Romania, Finland, UK. Yeah. About those were with me, yeah. You mean dudes that got trained there, or dudes that soldiers from there, or volunteers? So you said you asked from the UK, so where you are you don't need to tell me, of course, if you don't want to. Where you are volunteer, or are you a Ukrainian that is now living in the UK? Trainers, okay. Trainers from those countries. I see that little rotation I did in the end. That is what you often see is basically to stabilize, and also micro adjustments for the terminal. At that point, you can't recover the drone anymore, so you can only do micro adjustments. What they like is to do the rotation in order to get a bit rid of the inertia, and also because sometimes it is good if you have a heat warhead or whatever, you want to have that heat warhead pointing at the target. Something like, for example, a RPG, a regular heat. If you topple that thing simply on top, yeah, the contact wires will trigger it, but the plasma jet will not develop properly. It will damage, definitely. It will still damage, but probably not effective. "45 days? Yeah, it's short. "45 days. A regular basic training in almost all countries takes 3 months. 30 days is hard, yeah. Especially if you go to a war zone.
Fighters, are we set?
I mean, I'm talking about basic training for sitting your fat ass into a barracks. Yeah? I'm not talking about basic training so that you can immediately deploy to a war zone. Guess if you would deploy many of our recruits after those 3 months to the war zone, man, they would shoot each other. It's nuts, yeah. Where's the tank? Did you already pass or what? Oh, you already passed me, huh? Damn it. Yeah, there's nothing that prepares you to 100% for that war, especially as an infantryman. I've still talked to people from the West, also people that proclaim themselves as military experts. At some point I stopped watching, I only listened to Ukrainian dudes and perhaps Russian, yeah. So at some point, man, some dude, I mean, yeah, war and terror, okay, yeah, you guarded a shitter in a fob. And now you're an expert for military things. But there's some good dudes, yeah, some dudes that really understand it and do good research, but there's also a lot of yappers. But yeah, nothing will prepare you for that, especially not for that what you guys have to face. That is hardcore. That is massive hardcore. Should we imagine you're a driver? Fucking what is floating in front of me? I just saw a video about of a dude, man. He was in a X5, a Ukrainian a driver, a military driver with acquired X5. Because they acquire a lot of civilian vehicles by now. A, because there's a shortage of vehicles. B, civilian vehicles are often faster than military shit, especially tracked. It is too slow, if you need to drive down the front line in order to resupply dudes or switch out personnel. You don't have the time for those slow. So they often pick up good pickups or whatever, 4WDs, or at least something with an X5. Dude was getting hunted down by a fiber FPV. Man, guy was pushing it hard on that road. You could tell that dude doesn't want to give his X5 away. Because normally you might bail that vehicle and GTFO. Because usually the drone operator goes for the vehicle first. There's of course a danger if you are stranded somewhere. Because they will send up a follow-up drone for you. After they lost the connection, they will immediately get the next FPV airborne in order to find you. So you better GTFO immediately. But vehicles are in shortage, and I heard from many in interviews how they love their vehicles, man. It's full with stickers from other units or with badges from other units. When they really love their supply their vehicles, their jeeps or trucks or whatever. These drones are a trigger for all. Yeah, man, I tell you, I still wonder that nobody did some political assassination with the FPV. Because, I mean, there is, of course, some drone jammers and people already on that, but you could basically build a fiber optics drone, which is quite jam resistant, and kill some political leader, yeah? And yeah, I mean, the cartels already use those drones. I've seen footage how they bomb the heck out of police or terrorize villages. But it will become a big thing. Because the drone is really a cheap monkey. Every monkey can use it. Doesn't require any special training. You can, like me, man, sit that monkey down and... Yeah, exactly. You never know what frequency you want to jam. Multi-hopping or broadband frequency jamming is problematic. And also a jammer lights you up. A jammer is always a risk of counter detection. Because you are sending music into the sky. So you also might get detected on that. So it's not jamming as some freebie. If you jam, you let everybody know that you're jamming and they might counter detect you. Also broadband jamming, analog signals is very difficult. And especially on longer ranges, so you need to do frequency hopping or something, which if you do that in a very easy fashion, the enemy will realize what frequencies you are jamming and adjust. So if you jam without any purpose, if you simply jam the shit out of the sky on specific analog frequencies, the enemy will see, okay, dude's jamming here 5,000, 2,000, okay, we need to adjust. Yeah. You can't simply jam. Jam is not some magic technology. Jam has a lot of downsides. Everybody can detect you jam, and B, they can also detect what you are jamming. Jamming is always a risk of exposing yourself and exposing your jamming technology. If you jam frequencies, they will realize, okay, those frequencies they are jamming, but they are not jamming those frequencies, so let's adapt. And then suddenly 1,000 of your jammers become useless. And you need to first upgrade those jammers before they work again. And you will feel safe while the enemy already adapted to your jamming and will blow the shit out of you with your jammers not working and not... That's why passive jammers, for example, are very important. Or detectors, basically. It's not jamming, it's detectors. That's why a lot of units or a lot of stuff in Ukraine is happening with detectors. A detector is something that detects a signal, but it's not sending anything out. It's passive. Yeah. They try to detect common signals used by Mavics or FPVs and warn. A warning receiver, yeah? Because then, oh shit, man. There's a drone, GTFO. And the enemy will never find out. Because it's passive. You're not sending shit out. Yeah? But if you send shit out and jamming certain ranges or whatever, yeah, the enemy might find out what you're jamming there and might adapt. Yeah? And it's a constant war. Yeah, but lasers is a problem in Ukraine because of the high humidity. Yeah? I mean, close range, okay, yeah? But again, a drone costs $500 to $1,000. Lasers are not a problem. Recognition. Machine recognition is a problem. We could already build our laser system, but again, humidity might limit that system. Because Ukraine has a high humidity. So let's say you could intercept shit up to 50 meters. So that you need something that is fast. Our lasers are also not cheap. And you need a good machine recognition software with an optical sensor detecting those drones in the sky and killing them. All the shit will cost, I tell you, minimum 100k. Or even not more. And who knows if it will be that foolproof. Suddenly those lasers will start to shoot out some birds. some bird passes by, man, gets lasered, yeah. Gets heated up. It's not always that easy, and again, humidity is a big problem for lasers. So like in Star Wars, you fire a laser and it flies through the air. It will heat up every water molecule on the way. So nobody's having any physics education anymore. You can't simply fire a laser in the sky and works. Yeah, future, I mean, sure. I mean, right now, in order to stay realistic, I guess the best protection is really those shrapnel rounds, which both sides use. Rounds that disperse in weapons. You have one dude that is carrying IAK loaded with those shrapnel rounds. They screw up the barrel, yeah? They definitely screw up the barrel, but again, the reaction time is often 0. You will often not even notice that shit is incoming. But automatic defense is currently a problem. is indeed best is jamming, but the problem is you will also jam every shit around you, including your own units, and you will transmit your jamming signal into the entire world. Whereas for me, we are complete shit. And what do you mean complete shit? I mean the war situation is not looking good. Or what do you mean by that? Nah, bro, man, you did real. Fucking we NATO pussies, man, would not stand a day there on that battlefield. I tell you, man. All those dudes, man, yeah, writing books, man. No dudes, they guarded the shitter at the FOB, man. FOBits did nothing, man. Perhaps witness a 60 Mike fired by a 15-year-old teenager into the FOB for $500. And suddenly they write a book about warfare, yeah? About, man, Jimmy, I experienced it. But yeah, the situation is not looking good, yeah, that is correct, yeah. I'm not losing heart, but I mean, you did better than probably anyone could have done in that position. But yeah, all this Western media yapping. I mean, in the end, you're fighting a superpower. It is now completely in war production, and the West simply didn't deliver fast enough. Too much yapping. The critical point was really end 22. If everybody, man, in the West would have. And yeah, but we were really good at the West is really good at underestimating and overestimating. Telling some bullshit stories about dudes fighting with shovels and stealing washing machines, which probably happened, I guess. I don't know, but while Ukrainian frontline veterans tell me, man, the enemy has learned fast. I have the wrong drone. Yeah, you will not losing, but yeah, I mean, there's not really anything that can recover this war, in my opinion, as well. If people don't want to continue, if men, it's usually poor men, rich men that know each other but don't kill each other, command poor men who don't know each other but kill each other. It's not there's no way to recover that shit anymore. I mean, there must be now some sort of deal to be made to be allowed to save lives. But yeah, there will be a trade-off. I mean, at that point, expecting some Wunderwaffe or some surprise. Think that those times are over. There was a possibility for that in late 22, early 23. But Western supply, Western support was not decisive enough. Also, what I talked, yeah, underestimating simply the enemy. All talking, little doing. Yeah, it's a real fucked up war, man. But I'm glad that you made it out. In the end, that is important, man. In 10 years, I don't know if anybody will give any. This is usually what veterans face, man. In 10 years, nobody will give a shit anymore. Except for all those men that fought in it, and will probably many of them will continue fighting that war. in their hearts and minds, probably to the very end of their days. Because that shit you experience there, that is the next level, man. That I saw dudes breaking too little shit, but that, man, if we would have, yeah, that is, Jimmy, that was really, man, that is here warrior culture. Yeah, but first of all, I'm talking about manpower, tanks, BMPs, and all crap. Yeah, sure, that is running out, and I mean, they're now talking about drafting the below 25, but that will not fix anything anymore. In the end, yeah, there's a big manpower disadvantage. And that some weapon system will change. I mean, drones, of course, mass-producing drones. And drones definitely make offensive operations more and more brutal. That is what you see. It's also what the Western media is calling meat wave assaults. It's not really meat wave assaults. You see basically a product of dudes that ended up getting FPV to hell.
All right, fighters, it's about to start.
While other small-scale units might make it through. But yeah, no doubt, the offensive operations are extremely brutal on that battle space, and also aircraft will change nothing. It's simply... And what do you mean drones are not ballistic missiles? I mean, from a range? Yeah, okay, cheap drones should have limited range. I think with more range requires a Starlink terminal and a bit more expensive stuff. But even that compared, yeah, those modified Cessnas or whatever, they're super cheap compared to something like a Predator. Yeah, but where ballistic missile is really that efficient? I mean, now, okay, now both sides using them with more efficiency. But if you do the cost comparison, I don't think, but in order to return to the topic, I don't think that ballistic missiles will fix anything in that war. The scale is now too big. Broken windows somewhere in Belgorod and a house destroyed into 2 parts. Can you explain further? What do you mean by that? You mean civilian casualties? Or you mean that is not really efficient? I mean, yeah, I agree. If they, I don't know, send some cruise missile somewhere in, will not fix anything. But playing that silent, man, crazy. I need to play flight simulators in silent, man. Perhaps I can fly better then. It's crazy. I think I can now fly better without the audible feedback. Well, I was always thinking that is paramount, at least. Or not paramount, absolutely not paramount, but very helpful to have audible feedback. That is crazy, man. I mean, not a solution for everything. Yeah, no, but they definitely changed the game massively. And again, 70 to 80% of casualties currently caused are by cheap drones. And that tells you how crazy the impact is. When this war hopefully will end soon, there will be, because now they're mass producing, they have no time really to, there will be a massive push for drones. And as you already said, it will, every dude, every cheap militia, every warlord on the planet can utilize a very powerful weapon which currently so far has a massive advantage over any defense technology. There's no proper defense against those drones right now. If you don't want to pay, I don't know what, crazy amounts, copium amounts of money. This was never cheap, I think, in the entire history of mankind warfare. There was never a weapon system that cheap and that efficient like the drone. The current drone. Yeah? I mean, drones are already around for decades, but that current drone warfare we see here. Yeah, I might say a spear is cheaper, but if you send out somewhere a single spearman, he will not do much. You need an army. That dude also needs food and everything. That drone here, basically any warlord or any militia, any cartel can send out a FPV with an attached payload into a neighboring and hit a police car with it and kill several dudes while being in relatively safety with little to protect from that. That is what people need to understand, what big difference that makes. I would also like to return, yeah, to the classic. I would like to return to no warfare at all, but to the classic times, but unfortunately there's no return anymore. Yeah, I've seen those North Korean or Chinese drones, but you can tell they lack experience. They look all a bit like toys and whatever. Was a bit over-engineered. Well, they will definitely figure it out, yeah. But you can tell that those dudes lack a bit the idea. You can't compare them to Ukrainians or Russians who reuse it on a battlefield. A drone built for this purpose still has to be to fulfill everything you need on a battlefield. While I see those Chinese or North Korean drones that have some crazy airframes, looking sleek and whatever, look like toys, yeah, but I was asking why they're looking like that. Nobody needs that. But they will figure it out, yeah. I mean, everybody will figure it out sooner or later. Even every warlord militia on the planet will figure it out. That was bad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Crazy, huh? I changed my mind about sound. Even without sound, it's better.
Operators, get ready.
got the rotor hit. Radio from Stalker. I will now check out. Yeah, they just released enhanced editions, but I'm not really a fan of that. What they did there. But yeah, Stalker Gamma is good. Yeah, it's not with the Xbox controller, man. Your finger crampy. So small sticks. And without FPV googles. My hands. Not a fan of Stalker? Or of the enhanced editions? I really enjoyed Stalker Gamma mod pack. The originals I played them when I was a kid. Nowadays I rather play only modded.
Squad, combat readiness.
Nah man, Stalker is more than that. Just only looking out of a window. No, Stalker is pretty good, I find. It's living in the zone. Looking out of a... If you live in some shitty city, nah. I find the atmosphere is very unique. Cossacks, yeah, Cossacks is also cool. Wanted to play that even. It was a pretty good game. Not often mentioned nowadays. Yeah. Oh. That's of course not that great, I guess. Better place to live in reality.
Fighters, are we all set?
FPV, run! Tony, get away! Not a good idea to shoot at a charge from that distance. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I mean, what else to do, yeah? If it's coming for you, I can understand, yeah, but yeah. If it is, of course, deactivated or mobility killed, yeah, then perhaps don't shoot it, or even less, pick it up. If it's coming for you, I mean, 2 meters is still better than 0 meters, right? Maverick is pretty strong. Was hit by AK round and continue to fly. Ah, cool. I mean, usually that is... It depends on what you hit. If you hit the battery or whatever, then probably good night. But usually carry has several battery packs. But Maverick is good, yeah. You can fly it high, but it's not that big. Even not that easy to see on thermals. Or at least to hit us, yeah. Those bigger heavy-duty farming drones, they're a bit more problematic. And they are super expensive, yeah. Then we talk about 30k. Mavic 1k for the regular. And 5k for the thermal. Oh, nothing. Straight to the center. That's something you want to prevent, yeah. Flying into bushes or whatever. Accurate hole. So nothing important was hit, just the frame. Yeah, man, I said. But yeah, okay, at least we're making it inside now. It's that Xbox controller. Sweaty work here. The micrometer input. Middle of the PCB board. Damn it. Should we run? Run, Tony, I'm coming! Somebody shot me down. Poor man, it would be horror for me. Sitting in the house with a fucking killer drone incoming. Damn it. Okay, I will play some Modern Warfare 2, some chosen missions. Be right back in 2-3 minutes. And Dragon, yeah, was cool. If you stay around, yeah, be my guest. But it was great to hear your first-hand experience. Thanks for that. Always big fan of that. See you. Back in